Well, that's glorious. I'm just leaving the village of Avening, originally in Old English Avening, which means the people of the Avon, and so it really should be called Avening, but there has been sound change in English, obviously, so it's not too much of a too much of a thing. I was wondering how conservative the village might be, whether or not preserved that those Old English sounds. But anyway, I'm going to finish off what I did about the bulwark on the last video, and I'm also going to have a look at some barrows, some long barrows that are up here. So that's Gatcombe. I don't know any old record of Gatcombe. My best guess is it's the combe of the goat. Now these tell you that the landowner either A, supports fox hunting, or the sport equivalent of it, or B, would rather you didn't wreck all his fences and use this instead if you have to do some hunting. And those are two different things in my book, because they're going to come through anyway. But anyway, I just thought I'd point you out if you're looking for signs in the countryside to tell you something, and completely irrelevant to that point I was making there. Princess Anne lives in Gatcombe House, and hello darlings, and there is a barrow on the estate lands, and there's a barrow not far away from it, and there's another barrow not far away from it either, which of course that close proximity requires us to do some interpretation. There are some beautiful barns up here in the Cotswolds. I have to say that's a nice site. I think that's a Highland cattle. Now that's another sign of the landscape. I think that's sorghum, but nonetheless what it is cover for game birds like pheasants. So Gatcombe comes down here and then joins the stream, river, whatever it is, going down here towards Stroud and Nailsworth, and that stream is the Avon, for which Avening is named after. It's not called that today. I don't know what it's called actually. I'm going to have to get the map out and see if I can see. Avon is Welsh for river. There's a long barrow, as you can see. It's an elongated mound. It's not a round mound. It has a stone feature on it, which I'm going to try and show you in a second. So it's probably Neolithic. It's worth mentioning the alignment. The alignment is as near as damn it north-south, and I've never seen a long barrow that has that alignment. Nothing to do with the rising sun or the setting sun at any point of the year. It does, however, seem to align with the crest of the hill. Now, the Heritage Environmental Record says that it is below a ridge, but that depends on how you define a ridge. This is on the crest, and it's that point where a mostly flat hilltop then plummets down to the valley below. And that's where not only this barrow is, but it matches alignment with it. And the difference between a Neolithic and a Bronze Age barrow is that a Neolithic barrow probably remembers the dead of a whole family rather than just one individual. It's before we became really egotistical. Now this is called the Tingle Stone, if I remember rightly. I think it's referring to a dingle. There is a bit further on, just 50 yards or so, there is a little dingle, a little vale, and there's a great big vale of the Gatcombe as well, There's a reference from the 1700s calling it the Tingle Stone, a field name. So a lot of this might be completely irrelevant. However, tingle is a Middle English word for the smallest type of nail. So there might be a certain amount of irony here, something that sticks up from the ground that's really big being called something really small. Interestingly, while researching the word ting in Old English, I came across our modern word hustings, which is a really important democratic word. It comes from, it is Old Norse, a mixture of Old Norse and in English, and it is a hus thing, which is a thing is a meeting, a court, and it's a court held inside a hus, a house, and that's jolly interesting to anybody who's interested in archaic English terms. And just a quick summary of the Hazelton barrow in Gloucestershire. They did a DNA sample of all the people buried in there and where they were buried. And each the main man of that district, of that area, or certainly that barrow anyway, he fathered children on 4 women, and those children went with those women into separate chambers. That's why long barrows have chambers in them. So there's some sort of division of status going on that involves the status of the women. Perhaps they were of the same class as the main man of the barrow, and they carried their status with them from another area. Perhaps, who knows? But I was using that evidence and those ideas and their places on the landscape. Specifically, my observations around East and West Kennet, the long barrows next to Avening. So East and West Kennet has a long barrow. They sit in the landscape on a pretty equivalent plane. And I was suggesting that these are geographical markers. Now this geographical marker thing that I suggest, it's not just my idea, it's Colin Renfrew goes into it in his one of his archaeology books, and he's a major archaeologist, theorist, anthropologist. But what we have here is a cluster of them. It seems like a cemetery. They all have a really nice spot overlooking a valley on the brow, just as the land goes like this and then suddenly drops. And it's at that suddenly drops part you often find a barrow. And so that facing into a valley means something. What it means we don't actually know. I think obviously ownership, that the descendants are down in the valley looking up at their granddad, frowning at them up the hill. But what you've got here is a whole load of them. It looks like to me, like a cemetery. They can't, unless all of the territories that they represent meet together like segments of an orange. You see the ones that the East and West Kennet Long Barrows, they are long elongated territories, parishes that go across the downs and the lowland, and it has an English, an old, Saxon idea that your holdings should be able to support you sustainably for everything that you need. But there's no indication that's happening up here in the Cotswolds. There's no indication that. But like I say, because they cluster, they could radiate. The territories could radiate out. But there's just no evidence of that. This is the real name of Minchinhampton, Hampton Fields, the Hampton part. So we're still in the parish of Minchinhampton, but its real name is Hampton, its older name. And the Hampton part is Old English, and normally it represents a boundary or a meadow down by a river, but we're way too high up for that. The Hamp part is Hayan in Old English, which means high. So this is the high farm, the high estate. Now it gets the Minchin part from Minchen, which is the feminine part of the feminine version of Munken, monks. So we have the nuns, so it's the high farm of the nuns. It doesn't really tell us very much, but for a sort of antiquarian delight, apart from the fact it was a religious foundation that owned it at some point in the Saxon period. The fields part tell us this is plough land. So we went last time over to Minchinhampton Common. We were looking at land that wasn't ploughed, the grazing land. So medieval, even early medieval land is separated into land that because you need meat, you need bread, and you need beer. And bread and beer is done on the fields, the plough land, and the meat is done on the grazing land, the common. And that would have been held in common as well, probably. Not always, but it's the pattern. Well, that's glorious. Well, that looks like to me that they're giving permission. It's been fenced off with a pedestrian gate. I don't know. I might get a Somerset farmer come up and ask me what I'm doing. I'd better be a good boy. Anyway, look at the features about this. What is its typology? It is lozenge shaped. It has great big holes in it. That suggests it was probably lined. Now, it's very easy for me to make a fool of myself now, because when that was lined out, now I was obviously suggesting that's a capstone on a dolmen, right? We know it's the capstone on a dolmen because it's got water has sat in it for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years and buried a hole through it. But that could have happened at any time in the last billion years, before there was any such thing as a human being here. So, but nonetheless, those holes show that that's been curated by human hands. Now, I'm not an archaeologist. I was an artist. I went to art college. I still am in many ways. I think like an artist. I'm interested in aesthetics. I'm interested in the human hand and why the human hand does what it does. So I have an art critic's perspective. That's been curated by human hand. It's definitely been stood upright, but that could have happened again any time since human beings came here. But they said, on the internet, if you have a look on the internet, and I have a problem with a lot of things said on the internet, which I'll talk about later on. But it says on the internet there's no sign of a hump here at all. I can see one. That is not just plants creating that hump. That is a hump. If I have to come back here in the winter to prove it, I will do, which suggests beautifully that this large stone here was on the body of the mound, like the Tingle Stone that we've just seen. So you see, you do embed great big stones in stone walls to help. It's a massive pain in the neck getting it here for the mason, for the stone waller. But as you can see, it is. Oh, that stone wall is doing something over there. Either that or some sheep have damaged it. Anyway, it would be difficult for you to get that in your cart, or even your little van, to get it up here to reinforce that wall. But they do it. But it looks to me like that's just been incorporated. It was already here before the wall was set up. That's my impression. You can still see. You can see on this side as well. I can see a shape on the earth that. See, if you look over there, the height of the wall is less than the height of the wall here. That's interesting. They're actually making a gate in that wall. Now that might make you panic. You antiquarians out there, you might be thinking, has anybody told the scheduling people, the archaeologists? Well, fences, walls don't count unless they themselves are the antiquity, which they're not. So you'll almost definitely, this is going to be scheduled. Look how that lands. Can you see it? It goes like that. Can you see it? It goes like that. And there's a hump. This is a barrow. Very, very beautiful. I can't get over this. Never heard of it. Never heard of this complex of barrows. It could be an extremely important complex. So that's another long barrow. There's bloody hundreds of them. Can you see? So this is 100 yards from the stone and the barrow I just showed you. It is on the opposite side of the Gatcombe from the Tingle Stone. Seems to be the same period, long barrows, which is Neolithic, sort of 4,000 or 5,000 years old. And they are long and elongated. Marvellous, absolutely marvellous. It's just astonishing. Now they're not. I can't see a stone here. Can't see a stone here, but it is certainly one of the earthworks. Now, I was talking about chambers earlier on. We do have stones. They could well be capstones of dolmens, which means you probably got at least one chamber. They did also do wooden chambers. The archaeologists probably think the or kists. You get stone kists as well, which are just little chests made out of stone. And yes, very interesting. So that's Nan's Tump behind me, which might have been, I hope it's not that tump over there that's been incorporated into the golf course. But so that's the fourth barrow we've seen, Neolithic barrow, long barrow, in such a small space. And it's the last of this walk. I'm really pleased. I came out here on a whim, really. I wanted to finish some stuff about the last video, some extra bits and bobs that I didn't that need clarifying. And I thought, well, let's get out and do it. And let's have a look at these barrows as well while we're at it. I've been very pleased. I mean, that's the most disappointing. It's just a load of brambles. But you know, what a walk! What amount of barrows!